Hi everyone, happy Friday and welcome to a weekly budget with me video. We're going to be budgeting out the third paycheck of April 2022. And if you're new here, my name is Jackie and we are enjoying life's journey. We like to share our real household numbers with you. We are a family of four, primarily living off of just one income. My husband is in construction, but they do get a lot of overtime. So it's pretty much like the equivalent of working full-time in a part-time job. And I am primarily a stay-at-home mom, but I do a little bit of side jobs, randomly sometimes delivering for some of the apps. So DoorDash and Amazon Flex, things like that. And then I do make a small amount on YouTube. So I have kind of what I consider my self-employment income, and some of that money does come over to the personal budget, and currently that is trying to help us pay off some debt. But if you're interested in seeing how we do a zero-based budget using my Excel sheet and just hearing a little bit of our life updates, then let's get to it. As always, I want to thank everyone who left comments on last week's video. It's going to be a quick one this week. We only had 4 comments to go. So for those of you who are normally in the comments who are not in the comments this week, I hope you're doing well and I hope to see you back in the comments soon. For those of you who took the time to leave a comment, thank you very much. We're going to address those shortly. Let's jump on the Excel sheet real quick. So like I mentioned, we're in the third paycheck of April. For us, my husband gets paid every single Friday. So we do our weekly budget every single week. Or we do our paycheck budget every single week, and for April we happen to have an extra paycheck, so that's always nice. One thing we did have, mini emergency if you will, that we need to cover this week, and it is my husband laid down the motorcycle. So for those of you who ride motorcycles, you have an idea of what I'm talking about. For those of you who don't, what does that mean? It basically means he wrecked his bike, his motorcycle. It was not an accident involving other vehicles or property or anything like that. He basically, he had just replaced his tire. We have a feeling he didn't really break it in properly. He doesn't even really know what happened. He came home leaking oil everywhere, and he's like, I crashed the bike. And I was like, what happened? He's like, I don't even know. Next thing I know, I'm on the ground. So it was in the evening time, so he was really upset. He's like, I'm just gonna go salvage the whole bike. And I was like, let's let it set tonight. So we just put some cardboard down in the garage, and we came back to look at it in the morning to assess the damage. So he's just gonna fix it. We did agree this is gonna be the last time we're gonna put any extra money into the motorcycle. We originally bought the motorcycle back in 2018 using our tax refund. It was like a salvage already to begin with, so we only bought it for a couple $1,000s. So we do not have full coverage insurance on the motorcycle. We only have liability. So if he were in an accident or there was property damage, then our insurance would cover that. So because it was just damage to his motorcycle, we didn't file a claim or nothing. We basically are just, dealing with it the way we need to deal with it. And I mentioned this last week, that when you start doing a budget, you start cash flowing, doing your paycheck budgets, and you start learning to live below your means, then some of these smaller emergencies you can actually just pay for using the budget rather than dipping into savings. So the good news is we're still going to add to savings. We just had to change what we're doing to the budget. The first thing we do on our budget, so we'll talk about that here in a minute, but the first thing we do on the budget is I go on my husband's pay stub and we see what he actually got paid, just to make sure the hours that he worked that I budgeted for is what he actually got paid. And then I take a look and if I brought anything over, if I'm bringing anything over. So my husband's base pay is $30 an hour for 40 hours. I make this black on the current week because that's the official amount now. I mentioned last week that he was going to work Saturday, so he did work Saturday, and I feel so sad for him because he worked Saturday to turn around and put that money towards the motorcycle. So part of that is one way we're able to cash flow it, because he had the extra overtime. The other thing is we have another bill we're not going to pay this month, and I'll talk about that later. Myself, I'm going to have $33.68 from Amazon Flex. It's not in the bank yet, but once it's in the bank, this will be put in savings because it will be applied towards the extra payment on the teardrop trailer. I'm not making any adjustments to future weeks as far as income goes. Ricky I don't think he's working any Saturdays for the rest of the month. We'll see. But once he sees how much he had to spend on the motorcycle, he might want to. I don't know. We are still going to add $520 to the emergency fund, so we're still making progress with that. You know, I say this in a few other videos. with our finances is always 2 steps forward and 1 step back. So that's, we're still making that progress with getting the savings. But now, like I mentioned, there's another bill we're going to have to move to next month. Now I did end up adding, we did end up spending $30 on giving, and this was for Easter stuff. Let me know, did you have to buy stuff, did you buy stuff for Easter for your kids, baskets and all that? So the taxes were actually, the Arizona State, the Medicare, and Social Security were exactly the percentages that I had budgeted. The 1.3% for state, the 145% for Medicare, and 6.2% for Social Security. What wasn't, I didn't have correct was the federal. So he made more money, so we got taxed more. So the previous weeks he was taxed at 3.21%. This particular paycheck was 4.82% of taxes. So real quick, before we get too far down the budget, I did want to address a few comments here. So Lisa, thank you so much for commenting, says, watching your videos each week just goes to show how small financial steps have a big impact. Thumbs up. So yeah, we, like I said, we're trying to save about 30% of our income right now, and it's just by gradually making more money and lowering our expenses slightly that helps us to be able to do that. And like you said, this month, unfortunately, we are going to take a little bit of a step back, but that's all right. And then Melissa, welcome. She says, I love this. You have inspired me to really push myself to DoorDash more to bring more money into the house. I'm still waiting on Flex and Instacart to approve me, but I'm so happy I found you. Keep going. So thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, DoorDash is great for, DoorDash and Flex. Any of these type of gig jobs, these app gig jobs are really great if you just need to bring in some extra money, no matter what the reasons for, because it's as long as you have a good background and you have a good driving record, and you're within the proper age that you're supposed to be for whatever company it's for, and you have the car insurance in the car to do it, then definitely worth doing, because it's easy to get approved and you don't have a set schedule and things like that. So it's really, you're able to fit it in wherever you can. But then again, the downside is you don't have a set schedule, so it's really up to you to get on there and to make that extra money. I personally don't do Instacart anymore. I don't feel like the work involved was worth the pay. Now that I'm doing Amazon Flex, definitely even better than DoorDash. So right now I'm just focusing on Amazon Flex, but I still have my DoorDash on there, because if I'm not able to get on the schedule for the location that I want with Amazon Flex, then I can always just do DoorDash for that day, because my goal is to make $50 to $60 a week doing one or the other. And it's just small, but you could bring in, some people do it full time, and they're able to do that, but I really like the flexibility of it. So yes, definitely start working that DoorDash while you're waiting for Amazon Flex. We'll come back to the other 2 comments in a minute. So for this particular week, we're going to be adding $394.42 out of this paycheck to start heading to build up that mortgage payment. So this mortgage payment is due for May 1st. And I'm going to make this orange because this is in the bank account right now. It's not in the savings account. Normally when I'm getting the bill money ahead of time, I put it in savings until the week it's due, and then I pull it out of savings and I put it in the account that the auto withdrawal comes out of. For those of you who've been watching the other weeks, you're going to notice that we're cutting it close now for this mortgage payment, just because I do want to have that savings out of every paycheck. And like I mentioned, the added expense for Ricky's motorcycle, which we'll talk about. So now we are going to have to take some money even on the 29th. So we're going to be cutting it pretty close to having that mortgage payment on time. But we're going to have it on time, and we're still saving. So we're still a little bit ahead, so that's good. On the side here, I track my accounts. So in the income account, this is where the direct deposit goes to. So I like to line up, what is the amount for that item, to make sure that I'm not spending it on something else because it's already designated to a certain category. And then at the bottom, I just make sure, like, okay, this is how much the check is going to be after all the deductions, and so I want to make sure that that's matching up. So I do have some money somewhere that is not matching up for me. Oh, it's right here. There we go. That should be good. Okay, perfect. All right, so then moving on down, we get into our household maintenance and projects for the household, we have our groceries and our food for our tortoises, our personal care, and our household items. So household items is different than house projects. This is like everyday stuff that we're buying, and then personal care is like everyday personal care. I had a question from the video last week about where do we put like our clothing category, and that we line up with each individual family member. So for this particular week, we did have some spending going on. For those who've been watching, we've been trying to stock up a year's supply worth of our household and personal care items, and we're trying to get a 3-month supply of our food. In general, we're trying to keep our food budget at about $100 a week. This week we spent $105 on our regular weekly groceries, and then the rest up to this $125 we spent on stocking up. So we're focusing on one meal at a time, like one dinner at a time, and we're making sure we have enough to make that dinner 4 times. So basically I'm focusing on 7 meals right now. Once I have those 7 meals and I have to make it 4 times, then I'm going to move to 7 new meals, and we'll try to build that up for 4 meals and then a third. So we'll have 21 meals that we will have, dinners, that will cover a 3-month time span. After that, we'll move into like the lunches and breakfast type stuff. So we spent $125.84 on like food. So then going along with the food is we have fruit trees in the backyard now, and we have our garden. So I'm going to be learning how to can or jar. And so this $39 for home, I put this as home projects because that's kind of what I'm counting the canning stuff as. So we are going to make mulberry jelly. Originally I was going to say mulberry jam, but I don't like chunks of fruit in my jam. I like a smooth like jelly. So I did end up buying some stuff so that we can make the jelly. I don't quite have a proper canner yet, so I'm only going to be able to do like 3 jar batches at a time, but I'm going to make do with what I got. And so I did get some jars and a strainer and things like that. So this weekend, that's one of the house projects. I'm going to try to make some mulberry jelly, so that's exciting. And then for the personal care items, the things that we stocked up on, we got ibuprofen and toilet paper. And then for household, we got laundry detergent. And then Ricky did get another camera. So we have a camera above our garage. We have a camera on our front door. We have an alarm on our door. So we ended up getting a camera for the backyard. Our neighbor kids, they've been climbing on the fence. So they actually broke the wall. The top brick on the corner is now in our pile of firewood. We've both yelled at these kids several times since they've moved in about climbing on the wall. The neighbor has, big dogs in the backyard, and if they were to fall over there, those dogs are gonna like probably maul the crap out of them. So we've yelled at them. Ricky's gone and talked to their dad. We had a little bit of calm, and now they're back on the wall. They're back throwing trash in our yard. It's so frustrating. So we're trying to build this mini homestead on this little lot, but our neighbors are all right here. So the garden is in an enclosure because we're protecting it from animals, but we might need to actually put a proper lock on there because we don't want people coming in and messing with our stuff. And then we have our tortoises outside, so they do have a little cage that we could lock them in, but we don't like, why do we need to worry about our property? But we're worried these kids are going to be, oh wow, there's tortoises, or oh look at this, and they're going to be in our yard, you know what I mean? So Ricky bought another camera and a memory card and stuff like that goes along with it, because we got to make sure we're watching our property, and if they're vandalizing anything or if they're stealing anything, then we're going to be reporting it, because it's just enough is enough at this point. I still ended up getting a few more things as I'm building up our stockpile. I'm gradually kind of just reorganizing and improving the pantry. So I did buy some more of the shelf covers. It came out really well. And then I have another container for the flour. So yeah, just gradually adding these things. And again, we're just kind of cash flowing it as we feel we need, as we see fit. So I'm gonna make these all orange because we'll have that money to pay. So those all went on the credit card when I went shopping yesterday. And then, this Ricky's thing he ordered on Amazon, but basically those went on the credit card. And so now I just got to pay that pay that off. So I have the money now in the bank to pay. Moving forward for the next week, we're gonna do $10 for personal care. So I'm gonna get another thing of toilet paper, and I'm gonna get another thing of detergent. And then the next week, I'm gonna get another thing of toilet paper. So we'll have our year's supply of toilet paper. And then that extra $4, I think I was getting some more sponges for the kitchen. I don't remember what I was planning on getting. So we'll kind of see how that ends up going. Coming down, so some of the other bills we already have in savings right here, so they're in blue. The electric bill, we got the bill officially, so I budgeted $75 originally, and it's actually only $27.49. The good thing about having solar, especially during the summer, is now eventually these panels should create more energy than we need. So I'm hoping we won't have any electric bill. I'm still waiting for the water, sewer, trash bill, so I'm still budgeting $75. Last month it was about $65, so it could be a little bit less, but now we are watering the garden and everything, so I don't know if that's been taken into account yet. So I did move these bills. Now these bills are being pushed to the last paycheck of the month. We were going to have the money sooner. Now we're going to have the money later again because of Ricky's motorcycle thing. But these aren't due until around the second week of next month anyway, so we'll still have the money a little bit early. Gas, we're still going to budget $100, even though we only spent $73 last week. That is just because I did fill up. So I don't fill up my car as often as Ricky fills up his truck, but this will be a week that I fill up, so we will need the extra money for me. And then here we go, Ricky's motorcycle. So from the last 2 weeks where we originally budgeted more and it ended up being less, we just put some of that money towards the motorcycle maintenance. So in total, currently, Ricky is spending $464.48 on fixing the motorcycle. So he had to get a new oil pan, a new rim, a new mirror, and a few different tools or whatever related with doing these things. He did have quite a bit of cosmetic damage to the siding. A few years ago, Ricky placed all the sidings of his bike. His bike looked like a brand new motorcycle. It looked really good. And now one of the sidings, when he changed the tire, he forgot to put his tank guard back on there, which if he had that on there, he probably wouldn't have ruined the gas tank. But I mean, like he said, he wasn't thinking. The cosmetic stuff, I told him he's just gonna have to wait. And like I said, we're not gonna put any more. This is it. We're not putting any more money towards this motorcycle. So hopefully he's a little more careful. We don't know. We think he just didn't have the tire broken in enough. I don't know. Luckily, he's not hurt. Like I said, there was no one else involved. So, I mean, he was very lucky in that regard. So what are we doing? What bill are we moving? It's going to be the tags, the registration. Oh, and actually, I need to come back up. Okay, so we were talking about, sorry guys, I'm all over the place. So last week I was talking about how we were stocking up on stuff, and we had a viewer mention about couponing and getting really good deals at the dollar store on Saturday. So living with the edges, she says, as the girls, I mentioned how I don't coupon anymore because I don't use the products that the coupons are for. But she said, as the girls get older, couponing for toiletries may become more beneficial. My teen girls use so much deodorant, conditioner, so much conditioner and lotion. I think the original commenter was talking about Dollar General on Saturdays. So I'm still curious, what is special about Saturdays? I had asked, like, you know, is it a special sale day? I don't shop at Dollar General. I'm not sure if I even have one by me. I live in El Mirage, Arizona. It's kind of a tiny little town within bigger towns. And then they just brought in a Dollar Tree, but I don't really shop there anymore. So I'm curious to know what goes on Saturday. So maybe I have to check it out Saturday. And my other question to you is, how much is so much? Like, how much do they use? Are they using like 1 stick a month of deodorant? Are they using like 1 a week? Like, how often, like how much do you go through? Like, how much do you need? And conditioner, same thing. Like, are you going through a bottle? And the reason I ask is obviously so I can kind of prepare myself, but it's good for other people to know, like, what do you consider a lot? Because some people's idea of a lot might be a little, and some people's idea of a little might be a lot, right? So I personally, I do not go through, I mean, my conditioner can last me the whole year. my shampoo can last me almost a whole year. I actually use more shampoo than I use conditioner, and I think some people it's the opposite. We do use dry shampoo though, so I only wash my hair twice a week. The girls currently only wash their hair once a week, but my older daughter, she's gonna be 12 soon, so she will be, we'll be increasing her up to twice a week. But we use dry shampoo. Deodorant, I use a more expensive deodorant because the cheaper deodorants no longer work for me. I mentioned this last time. So for me, rather than buying more deodorant, I just switched to a better quality deodorant. So the girls right now, they're just applying it once a day. So that's why I'm wondering, like, how much is a lot? What am I looking forward to? Lotions, I don't use lotions. I don't use body sprays anymore. When I was in high school, my mom would buy me like a big gift basket worth of Bath and Body Works, and that would last me the whole year. I don't buy it anymore because I used to work at a laboratory where we couldn't have sprays or perfumes or lotions. We couldn't wear that stuff, so I just got used to not wearing it. So it's not in the house now, so my girls aren't used to seeing it or wearing it, so fingers crossed they don't start wanting to buy a bunch. But yeah, so I'm curious, like, how much is a lot? Having teenagers, right? That was like, I know they mentioned too our food budget. That will probably start to go up as well, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, so gas we're leaving at 100. Ricky, like, we had to do $426.66 out of this paycheck. And then, so we're moving the car registration. So the car registration is due in July, so instead of, I like to pay it as early as we can. I'm just gonna push it back a few months. My car is due in June. I've already paid for my car. So that leaves me for the last comment for this week, and that is Yezreel says, I am surprised that you already know the amount of Ricky's car tags. In Georgia, I want to say that we don't receive a bill for the amount due on our tags until maybe 4 to 6 weeks before our actual birth date. So yeah, so normally that's how it used to be. Back, we're in Arizona, so that's how it used to be. We'd get an actual bill in the mail, and it was probably the same time frame. But a few years ago, Arizona switched everything to online. So I believe at the beginning of the year, I was able to see what the due dates and the amount was going to be, but we're not able to actually renew them until I think 4 months ahead of time, maybe 6 months ahead of time. The other thing though, when I'm planning ahead, like on my yearly budget, like I mentioned before, you want to plan your yearly budget because some months are different. So we already know for our tags, I already know what months everything's due already, right? So when I'm planning ahead, what I do is I just use whatever the amount we paid last time was. And so that way I can plan ahead. I don't know how much it actually is yet. And then usually it ends up being less. It usually goes down a little bit. So like my car is June, Ricky's truck is July, the teardrop is September, and the motorcycle is December. Now the motorcycle, last time we did for a 5-year stretch, so it's not due until 2025. The other ones we're currently doing on a yearly basis. Once the amount comes down, because every year it comes down slightly, once the amount comes down, then I like to do a 2-year, for the vehicles, we'll do a 2-year at a time thing. So my cars, last year, my tags were in the 300s. This year, they're only 200 and something. When we purchased Ricky's truck last year, I think the tags on the paperwork from the purchase, I think it was like 500 and something for his tags. This year it's down to 366. So it's going down. And then it also shows us on the online thing whether we're going to need to do a admissions test or not, so we can plan for that a little bit early. So yeah, check with Georgia. Maybe they've moved some things online, and maybe you can sign up for an online account and see what it is sooner. But either way, just budget what you paid last time and you should be good. But great question. So thank you guys for commenting. Again, for all of my commenters who were not in the comments this week, I missed you, and I hope to see you back soon. I hope you're doing good. So like I mentioned, the money that I bring over is going to be coming over to the teardrop. I'm leaving this red because that amount is not in the bank yet, but that will be moved over to savings later on today. And by the end of the month, I should be able to pay an extra $414 on the teardrop. A little setback with Ricky's motorcycle, but we're still making progress, saving and paying a little extra on debt. And then we're coming back to the fun category. We are not planning on doing any events like there is Easter. We did do the Easter baskets for the girls, but we're not doing any parties or events or anything like that. Ricky's coworker did invite us over, and I just kind of was like, let's just stay home and barbecue and stuff at the house instead. So we're gonna try to keep it low key. And then Ricky did get his NOS when I went grocery shopping, so that was $11. He usually has got some money each week, and he said he was gonna use the other part towards the motorcycle. So that's what I did. The other $9 I just put up into the motorcycle payment. So we have zeros at the bottom of our budget, meaning we've told every dollar where to go. We have an idea of where it's going. We're gonna be able to put some in savings, like I mentioned, so that's already here. So now what I do is I log onto my bank account and I move over the money to where I want it. So is it going to savings, or is it going into the necessities checking for bills that need to come out automatically? And then I also go on to the Discover credit card and I pay off whatever the current balance is. And then I just keep a running total of what we owe on there. And that I keep track of here under card, so I can see, you know, what we've spent on what. And I usually have little notes. So for gas, we still have $3.80 left for cash back, so I'll be using that this week. We have Ricky's fill up today, and my fill up yesterday is still pending. And I have on here Amazon Flex $9.54. So when I delivered for Amazon yesterday, I figure out how much I'm actually spending in gas. I can share that in another video of how I calculate that, but I basically spent about $9.54. So what I do is once my pending amount is on here, I actually move my $9 will be covered from the Amazon money, and I move that down here. This line item right here, this $13.72, this line item right here is actually from whatever I've spent on self-employment. So whether that was the internet or my gas or whatever, office supplies, whatever I count as business type stuff, then that would actually come down here. So right now I leave it up with the gas because that's pending. So I think I spent like $33, but out of that $33, $9.54 was for Amazon Flex. I hope that makes sense. But I keep track, and like I said, I keep track here. This is the tag, so I put on here June, July, September, December, and I know how much. So for the year, we're looking at $9.15 worth of tags for this year, and then 2025, the motorcycle tags are $67.30 to do another 5-year stretch. And then I also keep track on here the due dates and how's it paid. Does it get paid onto the Discover card, or does it come out of the necessities, that type of stuff. On the events I have here, we have our Foam Glow race, our 5K coming up in May. So that's kind of a little note there for me as well. But yeah, you guys can pick up this template. It is for sale on Etsy if you want. The link is down below. It comes with the yearly tab. You can budget out your every single month on the year, and then auto populates to your monthly tab, and then on a monthly basis you go and budget out every single paycheck. But again, I hope you guys get something out of watching these videos. We like to share real household numbers just so you can see this is real life and this is what we do in different situations. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. You can leave words of encouragement. You can share how your budget is different than my budget. You can give me tips and tricks. If I have any questions, I definitely like to ask you guys for your input, and if you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments as well. Every time you leave a comment on our Friday budget videos, I always address them in next week's video. All of my other videos, I do read all of your comments. I may not have the time to respond to all of them, but you can always leave a comment on today's video and I will respond to it in next week's video. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.